here in this video we will show you how to utilize the two operators. One is the integer division, the other one is the mod operator. Okay, so if you let's take this simple example here. So this integer division is represented with that operator, integer division, right? And we saw this one is basically if you have 8 integer division 3, then you get the value 2, right? And let's say you have 6/4, this is the integer division, then you get 1, right? And then we have the mod operator. Mod operator is, it'll give you the remainder. For example, if you have 8/3, 8 mod 3, then the remainder is how much? Is 2, right? And if you have 6 mod 4, then you have remainder is 2, right? If you have 7 mod 4, the remainder is 3. If you have 5 mod 4, then you have the remainder 1. So mod is the remainder operation. When 5 is divided by 4, what is the remainder? Okay, this is the remainder operator. It fetch you the remainder. This is the integer division. So this, you are going to use these two operators to a simple application where, let's say Sam has 300 pennies, and we're going to identify how many quarters that you can, maximum quarters that you can change, right? In this case the maximum is of course 12. That's simple. How about if you have 220 pennies? If you have 220 pennies, then you have 8 quarters, right? 8 quarters and 2 dimes. So we are going to use these two operators, right? So for that, let me open that. So if the way we proceed with this is, the user will enter the number of pennies that he has, for example, and we are going to use something called console read line. That we are going to ask the user, okay, here it is, let me go back, and we are going to ask the user first to enter the number of pennies he has, number of pennies he has. So that, let's say we are going to store that in a variable, like given like here pennies, right? Pennies. But here in the canvas actually we use a different remaining sense. Let's go ahead and change the as what we have in the canvas. So let's go and change it. It's taking a while. It doesn't like this. Okay. we'll change all the pennies. So here so here we are going to ask the user the number of pennies he has. All right, and we are going to use this function called a read line. So this will read whatever the user has entered to us. All right, so let's go back here. So we are going to the user will type a value, and we are going to read that value using a read line function. Read line, and we have to of course prepend to a console read. So this will read the whatever the user has entered, right? So we're going to store that value in a variable, called remaining cents. Okay, remaining cents. And if you see, our variables should names should have a meaningful name. Okay, you can't just give a or a B, all that. Okay, those are wrong. You should always give a meaningful name to variables. Give meaningful names to variables always. Don't just arbitrarily give some names. Okay, and once you have it, we are going to have integer division with 25. This will give us the number of quarters. Think about that, right? Think about that. Let's go here. If you have say 180 cents pennies, how many maximum quarters can you get? If you do integer division with 25, right, that will give you the maximum quarters, isn't it? 7. So that's why initially we are doing this mod 7. We are doing a integer 7, 25. So you will get that quarters, and we are printing using a function called write line. We didn't introduce you to write line. So write line is, let me take another paint. It doesn't hurt to take a paint application. So we are going to take another application function called a write line. It's part of the console class, and here we say we type the message for him. The message here is you have so many quarters. There are very many variations of you can write this. So one of the things that we are writing here is if you see here, you have, for example, and you can enter a 0 and this variable name, right? Say quarters. So this quarters will go in this in this 0. This 0 has to be enclosed with the braces. If you have 1, that means you have additional variables. Okay, you can have any number. 2 means we have 3 variables to provide. So that's one standard way of writing it. That's why I've written it like this. And once you have printed the quarters, you need to know how many of them remaining. The remaining is obviously we are going to use the mod operator. You see that? Mod operator here. Now in this case, what is the remaining? 180 integer division with 25, we got 7. Now how do you get the remaining cents? is basically a mod operator. 180 mod 25 will get you, the remainder is 5, so that is the remaining sense, isn't it? And then you go ahead and compute the number of dimes and the number of remaining cents, right? Nickels. So the same operation you have to perform on the remaining cents. First you mod integer division with the coin, and then you find the remaining cents using the mod operator. The same thing, you keep doing it again and again and again. So let's go ahead and demonstrate with the application. By the way, this application that I'm showing you is a console application. Okay, it's a console application. It doesn't have a window forms. I forgot to mention that. So this project is console application. Here you don't have window forms, no window forms. So you'll see here you brought a command window, and it says please enter number of pennies you have. That's exactly what we started off. See here, you just have to type in the console application, please enter number of pennies you have. Here there is no UI, there is no window UI here. Okay, pay attention to this. There is no toolbox to print all your window forms, so that you need to be worried about, pay attention to it. All right, so here I'm going to enter a 180. Let's get 180, and you see here it says 7 quarters like we saw. There is no dime, of course, 1 nickel. Okay, let's do it again. Let's give a number now. 300, like we did before. 300 as 12 quarters, and no dimes, no nickels, and no pennies. Let's go ahead and one more time. Doesn't hurt. Let's say 16. You have no quarters, 1 dime, 1 nickel, or 1 penny. You see that? It's very simple application. So here in this video, what we have learned is how to develop a console application. And we also trying to demonstrate the integer division, the mod operator, using a simple application called coin dispenser. Right? So this code is uploaded here. Right? So you don't need to but you try to create a console application and try to enter this code and see how it works for you. All right, thank you.